Hey guys, my name is Nicolette Mashile. I am also known as the Financial Bunny. Welcome to the Financial Bunny TV. Today I want to talk about top 10 financial mistakes to try and avoid in your 20s. So before I get into all of this, do remember none of my videos constitute as financial advice. If you are, however, looking for financial advice, please do speak to somebody that is certified and registered with the FSCA. So mistake number one, not budgeting. Guys, it is so important to budget. And when we're talking about budgeting, we're not simply speaking about you thinking about how much you earn and how much you need to pay every single month. It is so important to make sure that you are keeping a budget written down, or you are using a mobile app. 22/7 app is one great mobile app. And if you don't use 22/7 app, for instance, I know that a lot of the banking apps have their own tracking. So it will tell you exactly where you are spending your money. It is important to budget because it simply allows you to be able to see what it is that you are doing with your money every single month, where you need to make some cuts, and if you may even just find out that you actually are either living beyond your means or you're just not making enough money. So it's important to make sure that you are budgeting. That leads me to mistake number two, living beyond your means. Now, guys, living beyond your means is probably one of the biggest financial sins you can make. Because at the end of the day, we all understand that you cannot eat what you do not have. You cannot eat all that you have, and you need to make sure that you are keeping some of what you are making every single month in a savings or an investment portfolio. So very important, please make sure that you are not living beyond your means. That again leads me to the third biggest mistake that I see a lot of young people making, and that is impulsive buying. And if you actually look at the relationship between budgeting and living beyond your means, you will realize what causes people to impulsive buy. You're walking in a mall and you spot your favorite sneaker. Let's say maybe it's 6 days after you got your income, your salary, or however you make your money. You are in the shop and you're thinking, it's just 1,200. I should be fine if I buy the sneaker. You buy the sneaker, you go home. 3 weeks into that month, you realize that you are actually short. You've got more month than you actually have money. It's because you made an impulsive buy in the beginning of the month where you thought you had a lot of money. Simply because if you had budgeted, that money already would have its own KPIs. It would be allocated to specific areas in your life, and you would not think psychologically that that is actually free money. So it's important to make sure that you are budgeting so that you don't find yourself in situations where you are doing things like impulsive buying. The next one is living salary rich. A lot of young people, especially in their 20s, because they don't have a lot of financial obligations, they often they allow their life to live up to their salaries. So they live salary rich. You may find that you don't have a lot of obligations. I've done a video like this before where, for instance, you are earning 15,000 Rand take home every single month, but your obligations are just rent. So you're paying maybe 6 months, 6,000 Rand for rent, 2,000 Rand spent on groceries. So that's 8,000 Rand that you're actually needing. So the rest of the money, you start building a life that lives up to the salary. But in this case, you are not saving or you are not investing. So it's important to make sure that you do keep yourself very disciplined in paying yourself first, which is the next mistake that a lot of young people make in their 20s, where they don't pay themselves first. You need to get into the culture of saving and then investing. So it's important to also understand which season are you in. Are you in a season of saving so that you educate yourself, or are you in a season of investing? Very important, because remember, if you do not have the culture and the principles of saving in check, you will prematurely make your investments give you results, and those results are going to be subpar, and you're going to think that investing does not necessarily work when you just did not give it enough time. So that's why in the apple theory, we teach you that you put one apple in the freezer, which is ultimately your savings. And this is to save you on the day where you need additional apples in that specific month. But what we're also trying to avoid by making you put one apple underground is so that you do not find yourself in a situation where you need savings and you go and you prematurely uproot your investments. So you've got to make sure that you've got both of those, and it's very important. The next one is depending on one source of income. It is very important, especially when you're still young, healthy, excited about life, and you've got time on your hands. You may not have kids yet, to try and find ways in which you can build additional income streams. Those additional income streams, if you can get them to a point where they are at least semi-passive, that'll be fantastic. This is things like writing an ebook and selling it online, or writing a course and selling it online, or writing an actual book, publishing it. This is selling your own product or products that are overseas. So you can do drop shipping, you can do white labeling. This is the opportunity for you to really try. Yes, it's probably the time in your life where you might not have the resources to fully see some of your dreams come to life. But if you are salary rich, this may be the great places for you to be able to channel money into. This again, especially in your 20s where you can still take high risks, this may be an opportunity to do things like day trading, whether you're trading the stock market or you're trading Forex. This could be an opportunity to trade cryptocurrencies. This is the opportunity to really take advantage of the younger years that you've got and take those risks and take those chances and see what it could yield. You don't want to start doing this in your 30s where you're supposed to be in your building space. Remember, your 20s are your accumulation phase. This is where you're accumulating as much wealth as you possibly can. The next mistake to try and avoid as much as possible is not tapping into the effect of compounding. Compound interest is one of the biggest proponents of wealth building. So it's important to understand compound interest from a savings perspective, putting money away and allowing your money to compound over time. Or, for instance, compounding in the terms of your life insurance. It's important to take out life insurance as early as you can when you don't have a lot of loadings. When we talk about loadings, we're talking about things like you having a existing disease like diabetes, or you've got children, or you've got a home loan. All of those things are added onto your load because basically you become a higher risk. So it's important to take out life insurance when you don't have all of those risks, and you build up your life insurance as you are getting older and older and older. The next one is credit education. I cannot stress enough how important credit education is. A lot of young people get themselves into trouble in their early 20s by taking out credit loans, or they take out credit cards, they take out overdrafts, they take out, they just have credit facilities. Yes, remember, building your credit score does require you to have some sort of credit history, but it's important to have the credit education to ensure that you are taking out the right types of credit lines, using them perfectly or as perfect as you can get. So things like credit utilization. You may not realize that it's important to keep your credit utilization under 50% when you are in your 20s, but it messes up with what you are able to do when you get into your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and above and beyond. The next one, messing up your credit score. It's so easy to mess up your credit score when you are in your 20s, because in your 20s, a lot of us think like we are invincible. We think, oh my goodness, whatever. I mean, I was in my, I guess I was not in my 20s, but I was still younger than my 20s when I messed up my credit score by, buying a laptop that I stopped paying for when it got lost. And then I took out a gym membership and I just stopped paying the gym membership. I took out clothing, the store card, and then I just stopped paying. So you can mess up your credit record if you don't understand what the building blocks are for your credit score, and if you don't understand the importance of having a very good credit score going into your late 20s and your early 30s, because that's generally when a lot of people are looking into buying cars, a lot of people are looking to buy homes. So it's very important to make sure that you're taking care of that credit score. Right, the next one is not paying yourself first. And I know I had already started touching on it, but paying yourself first is probably the foundation of building wealth and really doing proper money management. Remember, we always say it's not about how much you make, it's about how much you keep. Now, the keeping part of it is the paying yourself first. So it's making sure that you've got a savings account. It's making sure that you've got an investment portfolio that you are starting. You don't have to start big when you are still in your 20s, because you have the luxury and the privilege and the magical component of time. So if you are in your early 20s and you start investing, I promise you compound interest is going to work in your favor. There's a book by Nick Maguguli, I can't pronounce his surname, and the book is called Just Keep Buying. And basically it says pick a good mutual fund, like for instance the S&P 500 or the top 40 or the top 20 by Coronation, whichever fund floats your boat and that you think works based on your goals that you are trying to achieve. And if your goal is to really take advantage of compound interest, then find the fund that is going to give you the best compounding effect over the long term. And that's the one that you just keep buying. Very, very important to understand these things. And it really is going to help you in building your wealth. So make sure that those are the 10 mistakes that you avoid making in your 20s. I promise you they're going to set you up for a better run in your 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond. I will see you guys on the next one.